In the last hour, diplomats in Slovakia shocked over murder of journalist in the last 2 hours. Marches for murdered journalist will be on Friday. Photo: Italian mafia and EU subsidy. Fraud linked to reporter and wife's killings in the last 4 hours. Mafia involved in slayings of reporter and his girlfriend. Vigil held for slain Slovak journalist. Slovak police say in touch with Czechs, Italy over journalist murder in the last 6 hours. Italian mafia may be involved in Slovakian journalist's murder. Murdered Slovak journalist was probing Italian mafia links. Slain Slovak journalist was targeted by Italian mafia, says colleague report. Italian mafia may have links to reporters killing. Slain Slovak journalist was targeted by Italian mafia, colleague in the last 8 hours. Journalist killings challenge Europe's idea of itself. Earlier today, murdered Slovak journalist was probing high-level graft. Slovak journalist murder may be linked to story on Italian mafia. Leading Slovak daily points to mafia in journalist murder. Kuciak investigated links between politicians and mafia. Slovakia journalist killed. Slovaks and Czechs pay tribute to the murdered journalist. Video: police probe murder of Slovak journalist. Investigative reporter, his girlfriend murdered in Slovakia. EU leaders, world media shocked at murder of Slovak journalist. Slovak, Czech politicians condemn journalist's murder. The murder of a journalist concerns us all. Police investigate murder of Slovak journalist and his fiancée. Slovak journo killed for work. Tax expose: journalist shot dead. Slovak police probe murder of investigative journalist and his girlfriend. Slovak journalist fiancé found shot to death at home yesterday. Video: police at the scene where the Slovak journalist was murdered. Slovak journalist found shot to death at home. Shooting of journalist girlfriend likely linked to his reporting. Police: Slovakia journalist and fiancé likely murdered over his work. Police: double death linked to journalist's tax investigation. Slovakian journalist murdered for investigating corruption case. Slovak police probe journalist's murder. Journalist Jan Kuciak and girlfriend shot dead in Slovakia. Slovakian journalism's darkest day. Who is Jan Kuciak? Journalist killed in Slovakia. Investigative reporter, girlfriend found shot dead in Slovakia. Police: slayings of reporter, girlfriend likely linked to his reporting. Murdered Slovakian reporter was investigating high-level corruption. Slovak journalist murdered in double homicide. Slovakia shocked by journalists shooting. Journalist investigating suspected tax fraud shot dead in Slovakia. The brief killing of journalist is mafia show of force. Slovak investigative journalist and girlfriend assassinated. Slovak investigative journalist and fiancé murdered. Authorities say EU demands justice for murdered Slovak journalist. Slovak investigative reporter and his girlfriend shot dead in the home. Investigative journalist Jan Kuciak killed in Slovakia. Slovak police launch probe into murder of investigative journalist. Investigative journalist murdered in Slovakia. Slovak reporter investigating tax fraud murdered. Reports police suspect. Slovak investigative journalist murdered for his work. Slovak police probe murder of investigative journalist. Murder of Slovakian journalist probably related to his work, say police. RSF appalled by investigative reporters.